Welcome, everyone, to the March 6th, 2024 Plastow Planning Board. And with that, we'll do a roll call.
Yep. Tom Alberti.
Here.
Karen Robinson. Here. Laura Millette.
Here.
Chuck Fowler.
Here.
Richard Anthony.
Here.
Tim Moore.
Here.
Bill Coy.
Here.
And Victoria Healy.
Awesome. All right, with that, I think we have a couple sets of minutes to approve, if I'm correct. So we had continued the minutes from January 3rd. Yeah, so this one's a little bit older. I think we worked through any of the stuff there. Does anybody have any questions about that? I think the key thing was getting a vote recorded on there, which had been. So anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 3rd, 2024.
Karen seconds. Any discussion on the motion? I was not there. Lori was not there. Tim was absent. So that leaves Chuck, Karen, Richard, and Bill. Do we need Richard to vote even though he's an alternate? Will he vote on the minutes?
As long as you have a quorum, you can.
Yeah, so Chuck.
Well, I would abstain anyway since I wasn't there, so.
Yeah. So we can, Chuck and Karen and Bill.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That motion.
Abstain.
I abstain. All right, motion passes 3-0-2. Tom and Lori abstain based on not being present. And then we have the minutes from February 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 7th, 2024.
A second.
Karen seconds. Bill motions. Karen seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? We were all there, right? Motion passes 5-0-0. With that, again, we just, not a whole lot to discuss this evening. I know next meeting we'll have some applications and also new members of the board. Is that correct? Is that going to be that evening?
Yes.
I think so. So, we won't get into anything heavy this evening.
A
So
lot of applications.
I think it's right there in front of you. I think it's just the
It's the country club.
country club. Yeah. So with that, Victoria, you want to jump in and quick HOP grant update?
Yeah, so I put a sheet in front of you all. These are the housing master plan goals that we had worked on at a previous meeting. But I put some actions on them with some timeframes. Sorry if you weren't able to see this ahead of time. The decision to have a meeting was made kind of
Yep.
last minute, and I
That's on me.
took a day off. And,
That's cool. All right. Any highlights that we want to look at or discuss?
Well, I'm not sure if you just want to take a minute to read them, or I can read all of them.
These were the three that we kind of said, hey, these goal 1 and goal 4 seem to be the same thing. So let's merge them, right?
Yep.
And
So we ended up with 4 goals.
okay. All right. So first was, you want to quickly read them?
So goal 1, ensure that new housing development does not overburden Plastow's drinking water supply or put an undue strain on the town's natural resources. Actions for those would be investigate the feasibility of encouraging or requiring the use of the planned residential development provision to ensure that future developments incorporate natural resource protection and connectivity between open space parcels. I set a time for that being 5 years because it is kind of a big haul. The next one, consistently review and update the Aquifer Protection District, Wetlands Conservation District, and Stormwater Management Regulations as needed as new information and recommendations arise. That one's ongoing. Number 3, update Plastow's Stormwater Protection Plan. I gave that 3 years.
And we just did that, right? You just did that, all that work?
I'm not sure on the requirement of that one or when you did it last. So I was hoping for some feedback on that one. You did just do it?
I think we did. Didn't we just do that, Tim?
I don't think so. It's been a while. We just looked at the stormwater regulations.
MS4.
I think last year you did floodplain.
Oh, that was,
Yeah.
that was what Tom read, that big, yeah.
All right. Okay. No, that sounds good. All right. So it sounds like that's,
Okay, so source water protection plan, that was done August 2015. That was the last time.
Oh, so it's a while.
So maybe we should shorten that.
well,
Did I say 3 years? Maybe it should be more like 2 years. Since it,
how often has it typically been reviewed, or does it only really get reviewed when there's new guidelines and regulations put forth by the state?
I don't know who oversees that. Wasn't that something we talked about before?
yeah, that also it might be the conservation commission, so I could just take it out there completely.
No, I don't think we need to take it out there. I guess the question is, what is the priority? Is 3 years okay, or should it get a higher priority, right?
I think maybe it should be 2 years.
Okay.
Because then that would be
But we need to know who oversees it.
11 years.
That's true. We can make a note on that, who actually oversees that.
I think previously the stormwater task management,
Stormwater Protection Committee.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, though.
Tim. Yeah, primary contact is Tim. Committee members.
Oh.
We're the Conservation Commission.
Okay. Okay.
So do you think that we should take it out because it's not something we will take on? Or is it?
The planning board could always light the fire.
I'm not sure, but I think if we look under the natural resources section of the master plan and recommendations, I would guess that this might come up there. Not sure, but
So maybe I could change it to work with the Plastow Conservation Commission to update the Plastow Stormwater Protection Plan.
Yeah, coordinate with, yeah. In 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Doesn't,
I won't be around, so. This is it.
well,
This is my lame duck year, my last year.
I hope you're around. I didn't know what you were saying there. We had someone at my meeting in Dallas say, well, if so-and-so dies tomorrow, then, we want to be able to know this, this, and this. And I said, I always like to say, if so-and-so wins the lottery tomorrow, like I said, stop killing them off, make them lottery winners. And that's why they leave their job. Anyways.
So do we like that edit? Work with the Plastow Conservation Commission to update the Stormwater Protection Plan, and we'll put a 2-year.
Sure.
And then the last one, research the potential for greater density around areas where town water exists. That's kind of like a gimme because we're doing it with the build out.
Oh, but we don't really have town water, I guess, right? I mean, we have some streams and stuff, and we have some
Town
wetlands
water?
and stuff. Oh, you mean the public water system?
Yeah.
I get, yep. Okay, I get it. Public water, yeah,
You want me to
okay.
clarify that?
Public water, yeah. My brain was thinking lakes and ponds and rivers. Exactly. Well, that's kind of what. Yeah, my brain didn't. Listen,
So let me
this is my last
add
meeting. I'm out.
town public water.
Public water, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Said 2 years. That one is, like I said, kind of give a gimme because we're doing it with
Sure.
the.
Yeah, I put 2024.
Well, did you put it down to 1 year?
Get it done and
1
over
year.
with.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. I mean, it's complicated to do the initial mapping, but it's not a complicated decision to make. I mean,
True.
look at data and decide it's going to do this or not, or, you know.
Yeah.
1 year.
1 year.
So we'll work on it this year?
And we're kind of doing it backwards. I mean, in the sense that you have the population density and then the water is being introduced. It isn't the population being introduced around the water. I mean, it's just, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure if
Like
I do.
the
I'm not sure if I do
population
either.
is First, now we put the water in. So it isn't like you're seeing the effects of having water and then population density as a result of that.
The
Yeah.
water's kind of fixed, so we're trying to see if we can figure out ways to put more houses around where the water is.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Which is what we're doing in the build out. We don't have to put it in if you don't want.
It's the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah. Fine, just leave
Well,
it.
where the water is now, I don't think there's really the availability to put more homes.
Unless you change zoning.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, if you change zoning.
Well, I don't think water is in the LDR, right?
That's true, and yeah, that's true in general. There might be one small section of LDR where the pipes extend, but not.
Well, I mean, I think we have where the water is, right? We have commercial, and then we put an overlay district to allow for.
Well, that's the commercial, yeah.
We allowed for residential in commercial, which wasn't allowed before. So, in a sense,
But I mean, usually when you're talking about density, you're talking residential.
Yeah. Well, does it seem like we can still put that out there and have easy answers within a year, or do you want to just scratch it?
Yeah, probably work on it this year.
Okay. All right. So we're good with section 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just says research the potential.
Mhm.
You don't have to do anything with it.
Okay.
So we like goal 1 with actions.
Sure.
I mean, sure.
Yes. This is kind of
Sure.
the same thing. C.
All right, goal 2, that one's shorter. Foster a sense of community and connectivity in residential neighborhoods through thoughtful site design, the provision of safe walking routes, and enforcement of speed limits. So the first action for that, update the planned residential development provision to ensure that future developments incorporate pedestrian safety and connectivity to local amenities. I said 2 years for that one. It could also be a 3-year. Or 5, because in goal 1, we're also looking at PRD.
I'll leave that up to you
So
guys.
does that mean that we're, if like someone's putting in a community, that we're going to want to say that, if you're putting in a road, put in sidewalks? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, in theory, if we have an application coming, that would be a goal.
You have sidewalks in your neighborhood?
No.
How about you?
It was supposed to.
Oh.
No, I was getting my oil changed at a fine town establishment yesterday, and I was reading the 2014 town report that they had in there, and it's all about the safe road to schools, all about the Main Street having sidewalks up and down the whole thing. And so it's obviously that's almost 10 years ago. It was still under discussion. And we got some, right? We got a little bit around the school, and
You have a little bit.
It goes down to the library.
Westville Road too, don't forget that big
If
project.
so,
On Westville Road, around that bend
Yeah,
Just around
on the bend there, because they added that when they did that area over.
oh, with the
It's just
bridge,
on the bend, yeah,
the
right.
bridge there.
we only have a sidewalk on the bend?
think so.
No, well,
Because when I used to run, that was a tough route to run, when I had to go around that bend with no sidewalks.
you see the kids running. too.
I always, when I lived in Cottonwood and I'd pull out when the school was getting out,
That was-
all the
that
kids
was
are
a
walking to
struggle to
Cumberland
get that
Farms.
sidewalk
Like,
in.
man, we need freaking sidewalks there on
The
Greeno.
problem is when you have
What
sidewalks,
was
it
the
comes with the
challenge?
cost because you have to plow them.
Yeah.
They had to widen
They can do it cheaper. So, that was all, I mean, that's always, you can always do something cheaper and not do a hell of a lot. When they redid the culvert on Pollard Road, tried to get them to put the sidewalk in there. I mean, with an extra 5 feet, I mean, give me a break.
They had to do. That's another bad corner.
So, I mean, to Bill's point, though, it's the big hangup is usually who's going to take care of it, right?
But on Westville Road, I mean, from 125 to Firestone Place, there is a sidewalk.
There is.
You can't do much across Westville Road driveway, but from there, that business complex, we made sure we couldn't get them to put the sidewalk in, but there is area there sort of dedicated to put the sidewalk in.
So with this
and
goal,
work your way up Westville Road with the sidewalk.
so would this goal align with the bigger picture here, or would it align more with, say, a new application and saying, hey, put some sidewalks in?
Well, doesn't that play with, along the lines of the traffic calming study for Main Street?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you discussed in that meeting that four-way stop signs, but there are other things that they're discussed, like maybe a roundabout was an option.
No, everything that we discussed, was more short term.
Right.
See if that would work. Like what we had discussed is as you come Westville onto Main Street, put like a temporary island in there in April, so you don't double stack there. See if that would help. And then a thought was to put a stop sign there too, coming down Main Street, put four-way stop sign up at West and East Pine Street, and then also up at North Ave. Thought was that could probably alleviate a lot of traffic, because if you get a truck is not going to want to stop
No.
3 or 4 times going up that hill, because they come to a stop, then they got to start back up again. So hopefully that would,
Roundabout to be forgotten, though.
no, but you got to do something that we know that the state will do quickly for us while you still discuss everything else.
Yeah.
And, and it'd be interesting to see how much that might keep traffic out onto 125.
You guys ever been to Aruba?
No.
You know what
They
Aruba?
have sidewalks?
You know what Aruba doesn't have? Doesn't have a single stoplight.
Nope, not a single.
Oh.
You're right.
All roundabouts.
All those that like that idea, go to Aruba.
There you
The
go.
first, yeah.
There you
The old,
go.
hey, then go there if you want.
And take all the traffic with you.
Few more, couple months.
Kind of back on topic on the PRD though. It's never one solution fits all, I mean, we had, Eugenia or some road like that was a 3-lot subdivision. A short road, I mean, it doesn't make sense to put a sidewalk in. And there's only 2 or 3 houses. And so you gotta tailor it somehow to the number of houses that's going in the subdivision, and where is it going to?
So let's kind of pull that back into what goal 2 says, and says review and update the subdivision site plan review regulations, develop provision to ensure that future developments incorporate pedestrian safety and connectivity. So if sidewalks is kind of in that discussion, I guess the question is it appropriate to say a site plan should have a subdivision should have a sidewalk? It sounds like it's conditional. Some it makes sense, some maybe it doesn't. So do we actually put it in our site plan regulations to put a sidewalk in, or do we just leave it open?
Tim, on our street, we were one of the last ones they made to put curbs in. How did that work? Who was the one that said we had to have curbs in our street?
I think,
Drop very quick.
I think we had Marshonda and Associates was our town engineer. They were out of Massachusetts, and so at the time, that was kind of the deal, curb sidewalks, but they're we hear from Danny all the time.
Hate sidewalks.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
no question on Main Street, but on subdivisions, they're kind of a pain. They tear up the plows.
Plows tear up
And
that.
and then once you put the curbing in, then you've got to do drainage because now you don't have the drainage off the street into swales, so they're much better way to handle that kind of thing for small, which all our subdivisions are small. I mean, if we were doing a 400 housing unit subdivision, and I say get those sidewalks in quickly.
So it sounds like bullet point 1 under goal 2 could maybe say review and update. You review and potentially update, right? Because
So what about this? Update the PRD provision to ensure that future developments prioritize pedestrian safety and connectivity to local amenities where applicable,
beautiful.
when applicable.
Sure. You're supposed to say, don't say sure, say yes.
There's no excitement in sure.
How's that?
Thank you.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Boom.
Sold.
Review and update the subdivision site plan review regulations to ensure pedestrian scale improvements. Said.
Also for the first goal, do we want to change it to 5 years?
3, 5, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Wait a minute, 5 years is the investigate encouraging that one, right? Plan residential development. That's still 5 years, right?
No, we're on the second one
No,
down.
I know, second one down, but I meant that was 5 years.
Yeah.
So,
Let's say goal 1A, that's 5 years, and that's with the PRD. So maybe all PRD changes could be the same.
All right, that makes sense. Good point. Good
5
point.
years.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Scale improvements. Is that like losing weight?
It's just
5 years.
it's just more specific crosswalks, more road signage for pedestrians.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that seems,
benches.
does that kind of align with goal 1, part A, goal 2, part A, and kind of in that 5-year agenda?
Yeah. Want to change it to 5 years? Cool.
They all seem to be related, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then goal 3.
Goal 3, ensure there are opportunities for safe, affordable, quality housing for all residents. And with that, we were looking to avoid putting affordable and housing right next to each other. We changed it a little bit. So the first action for that, investigate the feasibility of adding density bonuses for workforce housing, open space preservation, or the creation of recreational opportunities in new developments. 3 years.
But abutters are like, hey, nobody wants to have workforce housing next to them, and then everybody thinks that workforce housing is Section 8. But here we are talking about that little PRD, Horizon Way, and how those homes were listed for $800,000. It's like, it's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, in the future, we don't have a workforce housing ordinance, number 1. So they're gonna go by the elderly housing ordinance
That's right.
and that density bonus. I forget off the top of my head what it is.
So I guess the
It can
question,
happen regardless.
should we have a workforce housing? So even though we don't need to have,
You do have to have one.
what's that?
You do have to have one.
So right now it defaults to the over 55 housing, right? Kind of piggybacks that, but we've never really needed one because we've had enough housing that qualified within the.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have enough inventory.
Should we have a workforce housing thing, though, in case things change?
I, I think, right now it'd be wasted effort.
Well, what?
A wasted effort right now because we have a sufficient stock
Okay,
of housing that qualifies as workforce housing.
all right. So how does that factor into goal 3, section A?
So I think, again, maybe in the housing section, one of the implementation recommendations is to review that algorithm every 3 years or something, to make sure that we continue to have a supply of workforce housing.
So would you,
can still have a density bonus for workforce housing without having an actual workforce housing ordinance. If that makes sense. You can just tack it on to the current subdivision regulations. So
How do you guys
if
feel about
there are, if 10% of new units are considered workforce housing, then the developer may add an additional X units at market rate, that type of situation. And you can also do that with open space preservation, just like the cluster subdivision or recreational opportunities. You can do that too. But this one is just investigate the feasibility. It's not, again, it's not, we're going to do this within 3 years. It's investigate. Just talk about it.
okay. You guys okay with that?
Sounds good.
Yep.
There's also, I should change the order of these. There's a goal, develop a workforce housing ordinance in order to be compliant with RSA 67458. If you do want to keep that, I think that should go first.
Should we investigate whether it's required first? I mean, to Tim's point, are we meeting the RSA standards because
Yeah, we are.
we have enough workforce housing, and because if we can always default to the elderly housing.
Mhm.
So that would almost mean that we're not in compliance because we don't have one. If I read this,
So we could change that one to
determine if it's necessary.
ensure Plastow's compliance with
We don't have to have this ordinance.
RSA 674.
Some communities don't even have ADUs.
Yeah, I know.
Attached ADUs are allowed in every community by right. Not by right, but they have to. The state of New Hampshire
I
demands it,
don't
so.
think Newton does.
No, Newton, they always go and ask for a variance or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need to be by right, but you have to, towns need to allow them. It's an RSA.
So are you saying we have to have this workforce housing ordinance? The state is making us have that?
No, if you're in compliance with the numbers, but I've never seen the numbers, so I just wrote it down. We could change that to ensure Plastow's compliance with RSA 67458, and then have it be an ongoing goal.
With
Yeah.
respect to numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, review Plastow's,
Yeah, it's just in there to review it every,
review,
That's okay.
review,
That's okay.
just to review it. If
Yeah.
we don't need it, then we
Yeah.
move on.
I don't think anybody
review our
wants-
workforce housing
Anybody
stats.
wants to develop it. Review it, yeah.
The only challenge, right, is if down the road we fall out of balance with it, then it might be necessary, or if the state decides to get handsy with towns and start saying,
Well,
hey,
that's- Yeah, and
we're-
that's different.
we're gonna
Yeah,
dictate,
That's
yeah.
different.
Okay,
Well,
so we'll get rid of develop a workforce housing ordinance, and we'll swap it with ensure Plastow's compliance
Mhm.
as an ongoing
Yeah.
goal.
Yep, that's
And
good.
then to keep things moving, and then the one in the middle, review the affordable housing for older persons district. Are we cool?
Well,
Do we need to do anything there?
review the affordable housing for older persons district and the feasibility of making an age-friendly community ordinance.
Are we age unfriendly?
I don't think so.
You know?
Again, I think we have.
No, but it's more.
I know my age is becoming unfriendly to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the ordinance, like it says, is for older persons. I mean, that's what but there's also a shortage of housing for people under 30. I mean, you get out of college and you have no choice but to, move back to
Now you're living with the old folks.
yeah. So there
That's-
are a lot of different opportunities. I don't know if you've heard of these tiny houses.
Yeah, little houses.
With, they're small houses. I don't have any problem with small houses. The problem is they come with small lots, which is, a pretty high density. But if we work on some ordinance and that only happens over an area of 20 acres or so, then, it's high density, but it's a small area. So you're not really having that big an impact. So that's what the age friendly is. And there was Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission did a few years ago a big study on age friendly. And surprisingly and not surprisingly, they found that the needs for younger people was the same needs that older people had. Smaller houses, close to public transportation, the ability to walk to the store to buy, a loaf of bread or whatever.
And not
So
too
they're all
expensive.
very similar. And so that's what the age friendly thing is. So our ordinance just says, I think it might be over 55. I'm not sure what it says now. It's been a while.
So
The ordinance?
I think it is.
I think it's 55 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I do too.
with the state workforce housing RSA, your older person's district is essentially age friendly if they want to do workforce housing anyway. So to get on top of it and to make it what you want is a good idea.
okay.
Because a developer can come in here and take the older person's district parameters and say, I'm doing workforce housing, it's going to be age friendly. You can't do anything about it. So,
Why are you looking at me?
because you're looking at me.
You talking to me? Talking to me?
I'm kidding.
Sure.
You
I'm
look so
kidding.
nice in your white sweater.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
She wants to know where you got it.
Yeah.
All right. Is everybody cool with that? We just hit the 35-minute mark. I'm not beating Bill's meeting time, but we will keep it under an hour. And,
Okay, so that's
hometown visits are
agriculture.
happening on The Bachelor. I got to see that.
Okay, so we did all three, and we're moving the last one, though, up to number 1.
Yep, so it's going to go ensure process compliance, investigate the feasibility of adding density bonuses.
Oh, we have goal 4.
And then affordable housing.
All right. And then
And
turn
goal 4,
the page. Yep.
address the needs of Plastow residents while also protecting and enhancing the town's character through land use planning. This one should be easier to get through. So the first one, investigate historic preservation techniques to retain Plastow's existing village area. 5 years.
Seems fine with me.
Does everyone like it?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, engage the Plastow Historic Society on preservation priorities.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
We should think about inviting them in the next couple months for a chat.
And then number 3, review and update landscape design requirements within the site plan review regulations using relevant horticulture strategies. 3 years.
How about 2?
Sure. I knew that you'd like that one.
Eh,
I
eh,
like that one.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Bueno.
All right, do we all love it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I'm putting this in the housing master plan chapter draft, and then I'm gonna give the whole thing over to you guys to review, and then I'll make any edits if needed. And then we can be done.
Okay.
with that.
Great.
And the land use regulation audit is also done. So I'm going to send that along too. It's a lot of reading, but it's organized.
Very good. All right, awesome.
And then, you want me to just move on?
Yeah,
So number 4 on our agenda, site plan subdivision regulation amendments. That was for the stormwater management. We did vote to have a public hearing. With everything that went on, it did get dropped. So a hearing notice never went out. So just to be safe, we should have another vote to set a new date. And I'm wondering if you want that date to be at the end of the month or the next work session.
I would say the next workshop session, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would be
When is our next meeting that we have to do on the organizing?
20th.
We'll do that on the,
In 2 weeks.
before the public hearing for our next
That has
meeting.
to be.
Yeah.
So the next workshop session would be April 3rd.
Yes.
All right, so we would basically say all in favor of, all in favor of holding a public meeting to review site plan subdivision regulation amendments on April 3rd,
Yeah, for stormwater management.
so that we can update the stormwater management chapter or paragraphs.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so all in favor of holding a public meeting on April 3rd to update site plan subdivision regulations to include stormwater management. Do you have a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
Chuck seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes 500. Public meeting on April 3rd, 2024.
Yep, and that is it for that.
Very good. So this is, and all and I said this, I think one of our last meetings that, I kind of went back and forth. I feel like there's unfinished business with my role on the planning board. I think I've been on planning board for about 4 years as an alternate and also as an elected member. But yeah, work has kind of been all encompassing and consuming. I've been traveling a lot more than I ever have. But I do intend, and I'd like to be able to stay on as an alternate after the board is reshuffled. So I hope to continue, but I did want to kind of put out a few different thoughts. I kind of put down on paper sort of what we've done in the last 3 years, and we can highlight some of those things. But some of the major things that we've done is we put together an economic development plan. The idea behind that was to really look at what's going on in town from an economic development standpoint. We did a survey. We had help from the RPC on that. Sarah did a lot of great work there. We essentially get the results we knew we were going to get, but we have it documented and it can kind of be used as the basis for master plan updates. And I still think that there's some things that we can do with regard to zoning to promote some of the goals that study set forth. Again, there was desire to see less what I would call border town businesses, which is the ones who come here simply because it's advantageous to them from a standpoint of taxes and being across the border from Massachusetts, and really promote more of the businesses that are favorable to the local residents and that bring some value. We know there's limitations, challenges, that retail landscapes have changed, but hopefully, like I was in Burlington, Mass this past weekend, man, on Middlesex Turnpike, that mixed use area is just awesome. Hotels and apartments and King's Bowling. And I know we're not going to get that, but if we have something that ever develops to something like that in some manner or way, it's just really nice. And it was jamming. And then, Salem, New Hampshire obviously has that kind of stuff. So we'll see. We did a housing study. And again, thanks to the RPC, both for Sarah for submitting the grant proposal, and then for Victoria's work when that was handed off. And again, I don't think we had anything that was earth-shattering. We know we have limitations, but we've got the information that we need to then move forward in terms of updating the master plan and really considering if there's anything that we may have missed about how to enhance housing in the area. We're pretty congested. There's not a whole lot of land. We have some limitations with natural resources. We know all that. But again, I think it was great to get the resources that we may not have gotten otherwise by submitting for the housing study grant and the HOP grant. So thank you for that. And thank you for all the hard work that you put in. And if you see Sarah, we give her another thank as well for kind of getting that kicked off. So, one of the things is we had that warehouse, and I'm curious, I don't know, I haven't really been by 125 towards Kingston. Have they built that distribution center?
No.
I don't know anything about it.
When Fish and Game went out there, somebody saw a black razor snake. So it got stopped. So
Somebody 10 minutes earlier was like,
well, they did a study, 8 months, and no one's been able to find any since,
wow.
or a nest or anything over there. So I guess, I don't know where it stands right now, but they've even talked about even possibly shift the building a little bit to appease Fish and Game, but
Okay.
no one's found anything there. Someone saw one once and no one has found a nest since.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah. Well, that we brought forth the project of regional impact, and I think that was appropriate, right? Like some people questioned whether or not it was appropriate or not. Like it didn't hurt anything. We got additional input from the RPC, and along the way, through discussions with that application and the developer, they invested some funds into our traffic calming study. So we addressed concerns that we had about the potential for traffic. We got some other concessions on how they would plan, because we don't want distribution trucks running through, Main Street all day, all night. So, I think we were pretty diligent with that, and I think that was a win, all things considered. One thing that's been underutilized, but Richard helped spearhead, was to get the Southern New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce. I think the Yeti's been around town.
The Yeti has been around town, yes.
I think that, again, that's underutilized. If I had the time and resources, I'd be working with them more closely to try to say, what can we do? What can you do to help us get some of those?
A lot of that is that if people want to reach out to them, I mean, they have resources that, again, you just talked about having like box stores and things like that, but a lot of non-traditional type, like home type businesses that, could use their resources for contacts, networking, and things like that. I mean, I think they have like, a network of tens of thousands, of people where, you put it out there and, by word of mouth and, there are other media type activities that you can self-promote and, sort of take advantage of the scale that they have. So, I mean, a lot of that is they'll work with anyone. You can contact them directly, and they would love to work with the town in any capacity that they can. So that if you have the Yeti, which again, it's like, what's that? Find the Yeti, and you participate. It was some sort of cruise type, just for participating if you won. But again, if we get something where a new truck, ambulance service would be fantastic. They'll bring, there'll be a ribbon cutting of some kind, press release, and, again, something that they'll push through their networks. They encourage working with the, like Meet the Chief or type coffee events that they'll host and things like that. So, I mean, a lot of it is, not what they'll do. They'll do stuff when approached, and the town can leverage it positively anytime they want. Any of the department heads, recreation, I'm sure, can get involved.
Yeah.
So it's.
I think the question is, right, because they do so many different things. And to your point, I don't know, with the new ambulance service, there could have been maybe something done with that. Recreation, when ball fields are open and things, who knows?
Yeah, you can contact them directly. They have a dedicated staff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you dial the number that someone picks up.
And then ultimately, we hope that it helps businesses, that the positive businesses that we'd like to see come in and then supports them to be successful.
Yeah, we have a bakery coming in
Bakery coming in,
and remodeled,
yeah.
remodeling of Larry.
Larry's Clam Bar is becoming Al Flacco's.
Yeah.
That's not a bad,
And we've heard some other things.
yeah.
Did you go there today?
I did.
To El
So
Flacco's?
how's it
Yeah,
coming along?
I looked at the inside. I think he's planning on hopefully opening the beginning of May.
Nice.
Good.
He's got I saw that there's a bar area. There's a big bar area going in.
He's,
Seating, I think, is going to be somewhere around
sorry.
170 people in there.
Really? That many?
it's a big
Wow.
place.
Wow.
And I think I saw the bar looks like it's about as big as this.
The bar is huge. The bar will probably fit, I'm guessing, 30, 35 people around it. That's how big it is.
Wow.
Good sized area. I know he plans on keeping ice cream and things like that there as well. So they'll do takeout as well.
Nice.
We will do takeout.
Yep.
Hmm.
But hopefully it makes it.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's doing a good job in there so far.
I had food when he was at the truck up in 108.
Yeah.
It's good. It's authentic. It's
Yeah.
different than your run of the mill. We go do shots there, Victoria.
And then the bakery is going to be a couple of buildings up.
Is that the old
Yeah,
Rockingham?
Rockingham.
Nice.
Bakery, yeah.
And that's fresh AF.
Yes.
I've heard that.
Well, you won't have to go. You probably won't have to go as far then, Cameron. So that.
My daughter works at Heavenly's, and she brings home,
Yeah.
like the shift ends, she brings home the donuts, and I'm like,
Oh, no, this is much better.
well, I know. I love donuts.
But the problem is, though, it's dangerous.
Heavenly's is great too.
It's dangerous. You know, I'll pick up some cookies for the week. Every time you walk by, I'll just take one. Just
Yeah.
one. Next thing you know, what happened to all the cookies?
That goes
Why won't my
back.
pants fit?
That goes back to this. What is it? The scale, public scale
Oh.
Pedestrian
improvements.
scale.
That
Yeah.
that never helps.
Bigger sidewalks in front of cookie shops.
Those are but that's nice. I mean, I hope that, number one, I would hope that they could coordinate if they choose to with the Southern New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce. And number two, those seem to be businesses that I think anybody in town who, especially the ones who communicated in the survey of the economic development plan, would be absolutely pleased with that. And is that in C3?
Yeah, C3.
So yeah, thanks Karen for doing that. I think that, put some emphasis on,
Thanks for the.
not necessarily larger scale.
Just for, just sticking a building in here, like you said, for tax relief.
Yep. So I did have that. I said multiple zoning amendments highlighted by the addition of a C3 zoning, but also highlight something that Tim did, which was to spearhead the overlay district. So thanks, Tim, for doing that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those things that just one of these days somebody's going to come in and says, hey, I want to redevelop this portion of 125. And we're going to say, you've got the tools you need to do it. And like I said, I'd love to see a mixed use development go in someplace. And I don't know when and where, but if it happens, we're ready for it. A little bowling alley, a little apartments, a little restaurant action.
We can have something right up above. That's what we should be encouraging.
Yeah.
They can move in
Yeah.
up above.
I did want to also highlight again that we emphasize landscaping. I still think that there's work to do to help with beautification. The RPC has been greatly appreciated, and the work that you've done has been invaluable. Some of it was behind the scenes that, would have been hard work. And I know probably would have been a lot of it falling on Tim's shoulders and also town staff, but, a lot of it was much appreciated, especially, stormwater management and stuff like that. So thank you. And again, HOP grant and work around the housing study. That was important and much appreciated. So those are some of the things I had. If anybody else wants to throw anything else in there, but I was kind of trying to look back at the last 3 years that I've been on the board and think about some of the things we did achieve. All the applications that came to us, I don't think that we ever had a situation where it had an application denied, but we worked through some things. The other thing I just came to mind was, I don't think there's been a single accident where Walmart is since Community MD went in, right?
I haven't heard of it.
I haven't heard of any. So,
Before they were
You're saying at the,
constantly.
you're saying at the intersection?
yeah.
Okay.
So there was,
Convenient MD and.
that was a day, we did, and, you know, they put that application before us, and one of the things we did was condition that they reconfigure that intersection, and, you know, they had to coordinate with the state. But I gotta say, that intersection, it used to be dangerous there. And so, again, I think some of that, we'll take some credit in that process because we forced the issue and work with the applicant. Otherwise, you know, all applications that came before us, I think, have been approved, that I know of. So anyways, anything else? Anybody want to throw anything else in there?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is make sure we thank you, Tom, for the last 3 years. I know it's not an easy job being a chair, and you've been the chair for 3 years. That's not an easy job, and, you know, thank you for everything that you've done. Well
Appreciate it.
appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, I
I wanted to say that too. I really
Okay.
did, because the times that you called me, I went, how can I do what you do? Seriously, you do. You run a very good meeting.
Appreciate it.
You've been very, very good at it. And, you've helped me too, a little bit here. So we just really appreciate it. You come in brand new, and right away we put you into the chair and did the thing. So that was,
We threw them right into the fire.
Yeah.
we did. So we thank you, and we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Every single time.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
We do, Tom.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. We have a diverse crowd here. We don't always agree with everything, but I think at the end of the day, we try to do what's right. And we're like, you know, it's like any good family is going to have their quarrels. And so, you know, could I have done a few things differently as we went along the way? Probably. I'm fortunate that we had the resources between RPC members. Charlene's been invaluable. Thank
I
goodness.
wanted to say something too.
I mean, thank goodness.
Without you, Charlie, you know, and that is unbelievable. With all
guys
the
are doing the
changes we make, you have to do it. We do appreciate all for having you, believe me, very much so. Thank you. And also, I will say also for the whole group, the RTC, that we could not have done anything, you know, until we finally got you guys here. And we wanted you here badly, believe me. So we do appreciate it. And Tim, I'm sure, he was, you know, always talking about it, and you always paid dues. And then when it finally came to that time when we had to really decide, I backed you up on that one. I said, we've got to start using what we have for resources. And you've been a very, very valuable resource. So
Happy to hear it.
Thank you, for sure. And last but not least, the best thing about this is when in doubt, I was like, Tim, you know, what do we do? Right? So, yeah, so
An
it's,
institutional resource.
yeah.
absolutely.
So thank goodness that whenever we were stuck, you always have A, some idea about what direction to go in, or B, how to at least offer some creative wordsmithing about how to get through something. So appreciate it. But thanks everybody for their roles. I hope that we can look ahead for 2024. Again, I don't want to leave the board. My role will change. It'll be weird. But I do want to be able to support it and continue to work towards some of the goals that we've set forth and come up with some new ones along the way. So
It's pretty
Thank you, guys.
exciting, you know, just, you know, being pressed up against the glass, you
Yeah.
know, every so often. So, you know, you'll.
So I'll say, what about this? And you'll be, shut up, alternate. Sit down. Be quiet.
We do want to wish luck to Bill Coy, and we want to wish luck to Richard.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good luck. Yeah.
All the luck.
Yeah, good
See if
luck.
Winged Knight favors us on the field.
That was the only real old business I wanted to bring up, is kind of highlight some of the things we've done the last 3 years. Thank you guys.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Welcome. So look forward to continuing what we do. Anything else anybody have?
Get out and vote.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Tuesday, what's the date? The 12th?
12th.
7 to 7.
Yep.
Tuesday,
Seven.
12, 7 to 7 at
Fishing game.
Fishing Game. Any idea if they'll have a more active police presence to help and like
That road is-
help just direct
know
traffic?
I know they've talked about, it's like everything else, but you learn little tweaks
Yeah.
as you go. But I know they were having discussions around it.
It got a little hairy at times. Other than that, I love the facility. It's way better than some of the
Yeah,
other ones. we've had.
unfortunately, that with the last one, a lot of people turned out in town, and it's going to be unfortunate because I bet the turnout will be less this time. Which then the town election is probably more important than the other elections.
Yeah, seriously.
But I don't know why it is, but it's sad, but it'd be great if we had the same participation this time.
Yeah.
And we can, so like my daughters, they can go in and vote, right? But they have to get registered. They can register same day.
Correct.
So we can come in and,
Yes.
so same day registration is available.
Yep. You just have to obviously make sure you have an ID,
Yep.
and you may have to show something else with your address.
Yeah.
Okay.
address.
Her Heavenly Donuts pay stub. We'll support them both, Heavenly Donuts and Fresh AF. All right. Anything else?
I won't be here next meeting.
We won't either, Tim.
Yeah, I'll be in Virginia, I think, at a real conference.
Oh, nice.
Good for you.
In 2 weeks, you mean?
Are you taking
Next-
the train down?
Yes,
All right.
of course.
Whereabouts in Virginia, Tim?
Alexandria, just outside of DC.
I know the area well.
I'll take the Acela train down.
Nice.
I'll be down in DC East the weekend. See
Metro
my son.
out to Alexandria.
So that's the next meeting you said?
Yeah, the
Okay.
20th, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's a long train ride.
How are you getting to the train? Are you catching it at South Station or are you going to take the commuter rail down and then?
Well, the Down Easter, I usually make the Amtrak reservations at the same time. So
So you can get the Down Easter up here and take it down through to
goes to,
the,
North Station, just like the commuter.
So it's the Acela you take down that way, right?
So you have to get across town either
Yep.
on the subway or
yeah,
taxi.
to over to South Station and then get on the Acela there.
Station,
Yeah. Just because I'm taking the train down to New York City in a couple, and
I'll tell you, when you go to New York City, I used to travel down to New York City a lot for customers. I'd always take the train. It's so much better than flying.
they just pulled the National Guard into the subway
Yeah,
station there.
Don't
I know.
take a subway, please.
That's what I'm not going to do, but
Well, where you go, you come in at Penn Station. That's not the subway, so it's.
No, I
No,
get
I
it.
know, but just don't use one.
The thing I was trying to figure out was I might drive down to Boston and just park down in Boston and take it, but I don't know if I want to do
The
that.
area the best place where I found to park is right off of 128. So you can pick the train up there at 128 as well, down around Canton.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Westwood,
right.
or Westwood, I think it is. It's Westwood.
Just to go, you go past the city and
No,
grab it.
you get on 128 before you even get in the city. So, or 95 South. I'm old enough, I still call it
Yeah,
128.
128.
So, it's where the Cloverleaf is. That's where 128 is. So it's like we're Woburn.
Yeah.
So you go down there, you go down to Westwood. Same train that comes out of South Station goes right by there. So that's where you get on.
Okay.
It just saves you from going into Boston.
That's what I
That's
figure
what I
out.
would do.
I may reach out to you separately. So
Yeah.
Or you can go into Newburyport,
And
take the commuter rail to
take the
North
commuter rail
Station.
down and then get off the commuter rail and jump on the Acela. Yeah. It's just been, I just haven't done the train in ages. So
You jump on the orange line to get to South Station.
But to go to New York City, the train is the way to go.
it
It is the way to go.
Well, last time I went, I got to the Mary Marquis and parked. Like it was $70 a day just to park there. I'm like, and plus drive was.
Oh, plus drive, if you take like the Acela down there, it's about 3 hours. It only stops 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's 3 hours. Takes you the same time to drive down there. That's with no traffic.
Yeah, at
You
least.
get the traffic.
And you can relax. And the one thing I would say, I don't know if it's still this way, but I used to go down there before COVID. The first class train, the difference was $25.
Hmm.
And you'd have your thing to yourself, set up your Wi-Fi. They'd give you breakfast and drinks and everything
Nice.
else.
It's a little more than $25.
That's how it
think
was
it
when I
is.
went down there.
Yeah.
That was pre-COVID when I used to go down all the time.
The round trip.
But I
was
also had frequent flyer miles too down
There you
there on the train.
that's cool. Yeah, I think the total is like $230, which is not cheap,
But-
but
But the thing, if you fly in, you don't know what that traffic's gonna be like, and you're talking like a $60 cab ride from the airport.
sure. Exactly. So,
Plus, you gotta go to the airport, check in, check out. Now you're losing your time there. too.
yeah. No, I'm definitely looking forward to it versus driving or flying. So,
Yeah.
all right, with that, we'll close the meeting at 7:31 PM. So,
Wow.
an hour and a minute.
Wow.
That-
Wow.
We hit some peripheral conversation. We